Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Good morning. You're looking live at PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We made it to Friday, and we will have JC, and then we're going to have Dan Cross, former Gator basketball player. We'll talk a little hoops with him. Also talk about his group that has a showcase tournament at St. Francis Academy that starts tonight and it goes tomorrow. A lot of high profile basketball teams from around the country will be there. So we'll get his thoughts on that. If you missed it last night, I didn't see one play, but the Cleveland Browns are rolling. They slaughter the Jets. And then a lot of bowl games yesterday. We can talk about those and the ones coming today. JC, you're on the Titan Number Hotline courtesy of Duff Hill Home Improvements.
Yeah, man, I'm out here braving the elements. It's football weather now, and we've got NFL playoffs and the bowl season getting hot and heavy this weekend. And then, of course, college football playoffs. Can't wait for those. Starting on Monday on New Year's Day, QB. We got lots of picks to do. The games last night and yesterday were really cool to watch. Even though you don't know who some of these players are, there are some emerging stars out there that these bowl games are showcasing, including the one who played for Kansas State yesterday at quarterback, who I don't know how that guy doesn't get on the field more during this season, even though Will Howard was there. Will Howard is not the next John Elway. And yet this kid yesterday can run, he can throw, and Kansas State's got him, and they should be the favorite going into the Big 12 next year in my mind. No question about it. So it was a lot of good stuff to watch.
You like them over Arizona? Arizona's going to the Big 12.
Arizona looks good too. And how about those guys last night? 24 unanswered points against Oklahoma. They were down by 11, and then all of a sudden lightning strikes with Farouk fumbling the ball for Oklahoma on the 13-yard line, and this guy from Arizona going 87 yards. Scoop and score. They then get 17 points in the fourth quarter and win 38-24. What a game. What a year for Arizona. Comeback team of the year, no question about it. Jed Fish, definitely one of the coaches of the year candidates, might win it all. And I think Arizona is back as a football team to keep your eye on in the Big 12 next year as they move over from the Pac-12.
Yeah, so we got a bunch of games today. Miami lost yesterday.
Miami's terrible. Miami's terrible, bad, poorly coached team. Then they're terrible. What do you think of that?
Andy has a question here on Facebook Live brought to you by Melon Law, and I have to look at this crap on my phone because the things won't let me scroll up and down now on Facebook. He says, will the Sooners need to get a big-name QB, or will Jackson Arnold be able to play in the SEC? Jackson Arnold was the top-rated high school player. He was DJ Lagway of last year. He was the national player of the year.
Oh, that's pretty good.
He's a good player, but, and I need to see him play more, but he reminds me so much of these strong arm guys. He has no anticipation and just waits for the guy to get open and then throws it. And that can get you, I mean, he's going to be their quarterback. He's making a lot of money.
Yeah. He was not the reason they lost last night. In fact, I'd say he was the reason they stayed in the game. And they were winning in the third quarter, but Farouk fumbled the ball, and it all started with that. And then their defense just did what Oklahoma defenses do, and they crashed and burned. And I think Arnold's not bad, QB. I don't think he's that bad. I think he's going to get better.
What I'm saying though is he was the national player of the year. That's just like what DJ Lagway. And I'm telling you, it's a different ball game when you play Power 5 football.
Sure.
Just because what you've done in high school doesn't mean it's going to translate to the next level. But time will tell that Jackson Arnold turns out to be a pretty good idea. Clayton on Facebook Live says, do you like Jed's offense better than Billy's? Look, I've known Jed since he was here as a volunteer coach. He's been an offensive coordinator and quarterback coach in the NFL for many years. He was fired multiple times. I think he's a good coach. I think he's done a great job there. His offense is a West Coast offense with a little bit of Spurrier stuff in it, but majority is a West Coast horizontal, take a few shots here and there. He's done a phenomenal job. There's no question about that. But my problem is I just don't see. I don't think the fan base. Everybody likes it now because of what he's done. The previous 2 years they haven't been great. They've had a great year. So we'll see what happens next year with Arizona.
I mean,
I love Jed. I love what he's done.
it was a
But
one-win team 2 years ago, QB.
right,
One win.
no. There's no I'm not arguing about that. I'm just saying if you look at his track record, JC, this is the first time he's won.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's been a
Well,
coach for a long time,
yeah. No,
calling
I mean,
plays and head coaches, things of that nature. So.
okay.
Daryl wants to know, am I doing the Gator Bowl broadcast? No, I have stuff going on. I'm not doing any of that this year. Joseph says Mickey Mouse has a better offense than Billy. Well, I disagree with that, Joe. You're being silly. I mean, they were pretty good on offense. They weren't great, but anyway.
I don't know if people are upset with the production. I think
people keep getting more worried about the damn offense. People, did y'all watch us tackle anybody or cover anybody? I understand you want more excitement on offense. I agree with that 100%. But your offense is not your damn problem.
Here you go. Here you go.
I mean, really,
here you go.
Just that blows my mind.
I don't know what it is. I think it's just something schematic with the offense that people
because nobody cares. I mean, the only people that talk about defense are the 85 Bears, right?
86 Giants too. Don't forget them.
Okay, but I'm saying it's crazy. It is crazy to me. You know, Alabama wins the national title in 1992.
Yeah,
and
unbelievable defense.
Their defense was probably the best in college football history.
Yeah,
but you know, people want to still complain about stuff. So, Michael says we lost Micah Mazuka last night. Starting right guards decided to hit the portal. He wanted to leave last year when he got here. He was only here for a couple of weeks and wanted to leave. So we don't know what it is. I mean,
if a guy
I don't know why you people worry about this stuff. There's nothing you can do.
Well, if a guy wants to leave, why are you worried about that? I mean,
it's no different than kids either want to come play for you or they don't. They want to come to your school or they don't. Everybody gets upset. JC, I got a text on the Titan Mark text line, and we talked about this yesterday. I did with Brent Beard. I brought this up. Beard.
Okay.
And people just blasted me on the Twitter feed and all that stuff.
You got blasted? You got blasted
me. Oh, and I don't care because I will stick my gun. I will stick my guns to it. I said yesterday that Arkansas has more money than the Gators do.
Well, I mean, I haven't looked at the bank statements, QB.
I haven't either. But here's where I came from.
What does that mean?
Walmart, Tyson Chicken.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's one other company. So my point was, we were talking about NIL and things of that nature. And I was saying that, you know, I guess they've signed a couple of 5-star linebackers. I don't know. I don't follow it. Don't care. But I'm like, they have, and we can't get a 5-star linebacker, I guess, is what the comments were about. And
okay.
I'm like, okay, well, we have no Walmart or we have no Tyson Chicken from what I'm aware of here to support the Gators. And
we got Disney World. We got Disney World, QB.
Well, that ain't got nothing to do with the damn Gators.
It's a complete.
What I was trying to bring up is everybody is so upset about us trying to, and you're in favor of it, making the swamp, the transitions, building, you know, taking seats out, putting nicer stuff in, and everybody keeps talking. I don't think people understand how the NIL works. The University of Florida Athletic Association has nothing to do with NIL. So the money that JC or listener X gives to the UAA and says this is for improvements, that money is not used for NIL. And people keep talking about, we don't need to do the stadium, we need to put the money in the NIL. You can't tell the donors what to do with their money.
Right. The donors, and I've said this about 17 times, the donors write a check and they want to know, where does it go? They have to decide, does it go to the UAA for these kinds of things, or does it go to the NIL to attract football players? I don't know if they write 2 checks, but I do know that sometimes people write big checks and they just want to know who to make it out to and be done with it. Right. So I'm not sure exactly how that's structured. It's not our job to worry about how much money the NIL raises. It is whoever's in charge of those collectives' job to figure out how to raise that money. But anybody who is not in favor of improving that place over there, I don't think has a clue on how you progress your program and move forward. And I think that's part of it. I think making that place something to be proud of is important. We don't want it to turn into Northwestern Stadium or Davis Wade Stadium before their improvements. My God, Mississippi State put a lot of money into their stadium and made it really nice. It does matter. I'm sorry, it matters. If you don't think upgrading your home matters, then you're going to live in a place of disrepair. It's going to look like something in Suburban Heights over here. So, and no disrespect to the folks in Suburban Heights, but those houses haven't been upgraded in 75 years and 60 years and 50 years. And that's just not where the new folks want to go. Go to Gainesville Country Club. Try driving through there. You telling me you're going to sell those houses to sell memberships to that golf course? It's out of business. QB, you have to
speaking of that, on YouTube, Evo Guy, brought to you by Quality Plum, said, did I hear that Gainesville Country Club's in foreclosure? Another golf course gone. It's been gone. It's been gone for, it hadn't been open in 5 or 6 years. It hadn't been in decent playing shape in 10 or 15.
They got people there got sold a bag of crap by a guy who didn't represent what he truly was. And it kept open and stayed open. And now it's gone. Bye-byes. And somebody will pick it up and do something with it at some point, maybe. But look at the development over there. There hasn't been something built over there in 40 years, man. So that's not a place where you're going to attract a lot of young money and a lot of new thinking. It's just not. So whoever buys it better beware. That's all I'm saying.
So we got a couple of let me read these Facebook Lives
brought to you by
redone. This one is very long from Brandon. Talked about how I talked about the NIL, how Ole Miss
first of all, why did you get crucified?
Level.
Can I interrupt?
I don't know. I try to state facts.
But why did you get who got upset about Arkansas with Walmart?
Oh, there's a million people on here talking about we have more money than them. I don't know if we do or not. I just know that we do not have one booster that has anything to do with damn Walmart, and we don't have one booster that has anything to do with Tyson Chicken.
Well,
and there's also J&B Trucking or something.
There's one school in that state, it's just like Louisiana.
Right, exactly. Right. And they got Jerry Jones money too. So anyway,
okay, I'm sorry. You're talking about NIL something.
Yeah, this was too long to read. Somebody's going to have to shorten that. Reggie says, until our boosters decide to stop putting more money into Shands than they do football, we'll start. Shands has nothing to do with our boosters.
If you get sick, you'll be happy you have a good hospital around. That's all I can tell you. There's a couple of good ones here in town. No, I mean, listen, these guys, I think, were caught a little off guard with the NFL concept, NIL concept, and so forth. Doesn't mean they can't compete in it. And look, DJ Lagway signed.
A lot of money, Corey. A lot of money.
He was being courted by a school with a lot more money. So it does work when you get a couple.
So we
guys
up the ante.
Well, so what? You have to do that at times.
No, I know you do.
You have to. You don't want to get outbid.
Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779.
You know, it's funny.
JC, we'll have Dan Cross in a minute. What do you got, JC?
I was just going to say, it's funny. Texas A&M didn't up the ante. They decided they had a point of stop, and they stopped when Florida outbid them, and they didn't want them. They didn't want them bad enough to say, well, we're just going to send Florida packing and just do this. And they didn't do that. So
maybe they said we're not going to spend that much money on a quarterback.
Maybe they did. Maybe Mike Elko had something to say about it. Who knows? But look, you're going to get some guys, you're going to miss on others. Simple as that.
Yep.
I'm more excited about this weekend's games, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, let's do some Peachland Dental.
I know
Gator
nobody
Nation's
around here
number one
cares,
choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. Go check them out at peachlanddental.com. All right, JC, we have let's pick what games we're going to pick.
Well, there are 12 games still left to do. You want to do some of them or all of them?
Let's do them all. What the hell?
Okay, we're going to start with Clemson Tigers. I don't know who's playing in these games, QB. I don't know who Kentucky's going to have, but they're getting 3.5. Clemson and Kentucky. And I think this is the wait a minute.
Gator Bowl.
Yeah, it's the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. Weather's going to be nice and cool. It should be exciting to watch. And the fans will enjoy it. It's at 12 o'clock today. So it's in 3 hours. 3 hours. Clemson minus 3.5. Who you got? I'm going to take Clemson because I don't trust Kentucky.
Yeah, I don't know who's playing. I think Clemson. I mean, obviously Clemson's quarterback's going to play because he's young.
Yeah, I like
Uh,
that.
I'll go with the Clemson Tigers as well.
Yes, your beloved Tigers. You must pick them. All right. Missouri was a 2.5-point favorite last week when Ohio State was missing all their players. And Kyle McCord went ahead and said, I'm going to go play for Syracuse of all schools. I have no idea what made them do that. But Missouri is now a 4.5-point underdog. So that tells me somebody from Missouri is not playing. But as long as Brady Cook and Luther Burden are playing and the Schrader kid, I think Missouri's going to beat Ohio State. And I'm damn sure taking the 4.5.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this game. I'll just go with the SEC. I'll lean towards the Tigers.
Okay, Missouri plus 4.5. That's a big line move. And something happened, and I don't know what it is. Oregon State is playing without DJ, and Notre Dame is playing without Sam Hartman. But Oregon State is getting 6.5 in the Sun Bowl. That's a cool game out in El Paso. It's on CBS. I'm going to just take Oregon State because why not?
I prefer Oregon State doesn't have a coach. They ain't got a lot of players. I hate Notre Dame, so I'll just go with the Beavers.
Well, it's only 6.5. All right, we've got another game where Memphis is missing a lot of players, but they're playing in the Liberty Bowl at home against Iowa State, and they're catching 10.5. I don't think Iowa State beats anybody by 10.5, so I'm taking Memphis.
I'm right there with you. I mean, I mean, it's a home game, and you're right. I don't know if Iowa State. It seems like they play a close game week in and week out.
Week out doesn't matter. Now here's a cool game. This is a game that I'm going to be very interested in tomorrow. It's the Peach Bowl up in Atlanta. You got Mississippi. They're excited up there in Oxford. They re-signed Lane for the long term. They're playing Pennsylvania State. Don't know who they've ever beaten that's any good. And Mississippi's going to catch 4.5 with Jackson Dart playing. So yes, to me, that's the easiest pick on the board tomorrow. Mississippi plus 4.5.
What's interesting about this game? What's Penn State's record, JC? Did they go 10-2?
Yeah.
Okay, yep. So think about Penn
Both
State.
Both are 10-2. Both are 10-2.
But Penn State's 2 losses were Ohio State and Michigan.
Right.
Oh, and Ole Miss's 2 losses were Georgia and Alabama.
Right. That's a good.
I'm going to lean towards my
you better.
team I grew up rooting for.
You better. You don't pick them ever. You never pick them during the year. You never picked them. Your mom is rolling around up there saying, "What is wrong with my boy?" I raised him better than that, and yeah.
I love the Rebels, but I just
okay.
They won a lot of close games. I thought their defense would let them down, but they didn't. They found a way to win, and I think they beat Penn State. I know there'll be a ton of Ole Miss folks in Atlanta.
Well, somehow their defense with Pete Golden held up. Auburn is laying 6.5 to Maryland. I mean, who the hell knows? Give me Auburn, I guess.
I'll take Maryland. I just don't think Auburn's very good at all.
You're going with Loxley, huh? Okay.
Well, I don't think they're worth a damn either.
Now here's the game.
Their offense. I think they may be able to score.
Yeah. Well, here's the game coming up here. The Orange Bowl had so much potential. It's at 4:00 tomorrow. So much potential, and everybody bailed. Everybody from Florida State bailed. Verse is gone. Coleman is gone. Johnny is gone. Everybody's gone for Florida State. They have no interest in playing this game against Georgia. Maybe there's a reason for that. It can't be that they're protesting. It can't be that it's all about the NFL, although it probably is. But they're getting 20 points from Georgia. Brock Bowers is not playing for Georgia. They've lost the people. Florida State doesn't care. I don't know. I mean, it's a shame. This could have been a real marquee game. But Florida State's a bunch of quitters, and they're out of there, and they're getting 20 points. And I'm taking Georgia to win by 40.
I like the Dogs too.
I can't believe
whatever happened with Florida State when I was out of town.
Yeah.
Remember they were doing that big lawsuit?
Oh, it's all a bunch of noise. It was all a bunch of political grandstanding. It didn't mean anything. And now they're talking about trying to leave the ACC, which fiscally sounds literally impossible. They don't own their media rights. The ACC is not going to give it to them. I talked with Seth about what course of action could they possibly take that the lawyers are talking about. And the only one I can see is if 7 other schools in the ACC decide to go with them. And then the question is, well, who are they going to take them? Where are they going to go? These guys want out of the ACC so bad that their anger should be directed at the ACC, and probably is, and not Alabama. Alabama has nothing to do with FSU. But the difference between Alabama and FSU is Will Anderson and Bryce Young played in the Means Bowl game last year because they wanted to, and they didn't want to let their team down, and they knew they were top 5 draft picks. And Florida State's guys are bailing because they're pissed. Well, Georgia's going to stomp them, and that's going to be the end of Florida State. We don't have to talk about them anymore. Let's see. Wisconsin +10 against LSU. What LSU's got a backup that I think that Wisconsin would start if they had him. So I'm taking LSU to just run all over these guys, even with a backup quarterback.
I'm going to take the Badgers because I think they can run the football in LSU.
Really?
Wisconsin? I don't think they're going to win the game, but I think they can shorten the game.
Okay, 10 points is a lot. You're right. How about this one? Iowa +6 against Tennessee. The over-under is 35.5, and Joe Milton is not playing in this game for the Vols, which might be a good thing. So,
what's the line?
It's 6.
And who's playing this game? Iowa's favored, or Tennessee is?
Iowa's catching 6.
I like the Hawkeyes. Hawkeyes. We're going to get to see. We're going to get to see Lama Lava and see if he can play some ball.
You can't win if you don't score. And you think Lama Lava is going to score for them?
I don't know how good Tennessee. I didn't think Tennessee was a very good football team this year.
Yeah. Have you seen Iowa play offense?
No, but I've seen them play defense.
You gotta win.
Tennessee couldn't score on our defense, JC.
That's a good point. All right. That was the Citrus Bowl. Then we get to the playoffs. We'll start with the latter game, the late game, Texas and Washington. Texas is laying 4. The game's in New Orleans. This is going to be, I think, a closer game than the first one. And I think that's because both teams are going to light up the scoreboard, QB. I really see a high-scoring game here. I'm going to take.
Yeah, it should be. I do like the Longhorns. I mean, Washington's had a great year. We know about Michael Penix Jr., but I'm a Sarkisian guy. I like how he schemes up plays. Yeah, he's been there before in these type games as a play caller. Yeah. I like the Longhorns.
Okay, fair enough. That's laying 4. I'll just be different and take Penix and Washington. They seem to win all these close games, and I think it will be because of him. So if he's healthy in this game and doesn't get hurt in the game, I think Washington will stay with Texas. It'll be up and down the field.
Brandon says y'all should base your picks on who you think covers. That's what we're doing.
Yes, we're doing the spread. So when I say is catching 4 or laying 6, what does he think that means? What does that mean?
I don't know. I just read his comments, so I'm letting him know.
Well, Brandon, we're trying to help you out, brother. We're taking the points here. I'm going with Washington +4, and the QB is going to lay 4 and take Texas. And that gets us to the game I'll be at in the Rose Bowl, Section 8H on row 65 at the trashy Rose Bowl that's got some chairback seats.
Or make sure you take a picture when the sun goes down, JC, for your scrapbook.
The San Gabriel Mountains, and I'll send it to you so you can post it on the show.
That's the only reason this game is played first. So people can talk about it on the telecast.
It's crazy. This should be the latter game, but anyway, right. Alabama is still an underdog to Michigan. It's +2 with Jalen Milroe, who Jim Harbaugh said was very similar to his backup. Jim Harbaugh said that Jalen Milroe reminds him of is a very polished version of his backup quarterback. That's what Jim Harbaugh said.
I like Alabama. I think it's going to be a good, hard-nosed football game, kind of old school. But I think Milroe will probably hurt them running and hit one deep ball. Yeah, and they'll win the game.
Michigan has to throw the ball to stay in this game because Nick Saban will not allow Blake Corum to run all over. He won't, and he's going to force man coverage, and Michigan's just going to have to beat the corners and the safeties of Alabama's defensive backfield. And we'll see if they can do it. But they're not going to run all over Alabama. They're not going to run all over Alabama. They're going to have to throw the ball. J.J. McCarthy's going to have to beat them, and that's the only chance I think Michigan really has. As far as defense goes, Alabama should be able to score points on Michigan. I don't see why they can't. So.
Dan says on Facebook Live, don't step on a used syringe at the Rose Bowl, JC.
Oh, yeah. Well, Pasadena is one of the nicer places in that area. I'll be downtown near the Crypto.com arena, which used to be known as the Staples Center, because we got LA Kings hockey against the Toronto Maple Leafs on Tuesday night. I'll be at that one on the ice, baby. Kings and Maple Leafs. I'll bring back a lot of good stories for you. Hopefully I'll make it, and the Palestinian protesters won't close the airport down, and I'll be able to get out of there and go to the hotel. I've heard there's been some issues at the airport right now in Los Angeles. I swear, I don't know why I'm going to this. but it's an experience, and we should have a good time. So let's hope I survive. But those are your picks, QB. We got a couple different ones. Most of our picks are similar.
Yeah,
And
that's probably a bad thing.
We'll see, though. We'll see. Yeah. A lot of good games starting today and tomorrow. The weather's going to be beautiful. The next 3 or 4 days here in Gainesville is going to be chilly, but it's going to be beautiful. Lots of golfers at QB. Pretty sure of that. And lots of golf for folks here in the area over here as well. So a lot happening. What's basketball doing, QB? I know that's
basketball plays tomorrow.
Yeah.
Before that'd be their last game before the Big Blue Nation rolls in on January 6th. We
fun.
got I pronounce it incorrectly, but it's how I pronounce it. Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac.
Do you know how you? That's not even how you. I forgot how you pronounce it.
Quinnipiac.
Anyway, that's who we're playing.
It's Quinnipiac. No.
Yeah, something like that, but doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, where is the school located, QB?
I would say it's up in the Northeast somewhere. I believe they're the Wildcats. There's some kind of tiger or wildcat or something. Did you know that?
Game, well, no, I'm not up to date on my Quinnipiac knowledge, but I'm going to tell you right now before you get me out of here. They play in the Metro Atlantic Athletic League. They are 9-3, and they do look like they are Tigers, and they are coming here to play the Gators on the road. Quinnipiac is as a basketball team, not too shabby at all. They can shoot the three. They're 36% from 3-point land, so they're 1 for 3 from the 3-point range, and they have a 4-2 road record. They've won 7 out of their last 10, and they're on a 2-game winning streak. Gators better watch their asses. It could be a tough one at the Exact Tech as they get ready for the Big Blue Nation to roll in here on January 6th. That'll be fun. That's really gonna get us over the football tragedy of this past year as they
as long as you win.
Well, that's true. I mean, they have to win, but I think in this league they're going to be competitive. They're going to be in the top tier of this league. I see them in the top 6 of this league. What do you think, QB?
Probably right there.
I mean, it's the guards. If the guards play well,
this Kentucky team coming in is as good as I've seen in a long time.
Well, they're good, but I mean, it's conference basketball. But this guy Zion Pullen, and this kid Tyree Samuel. You get these guys going. I like the guard play too, Clayton and Richard. I think Florida could make give some people some headaches with their guard play. All
right, JC, I want your thoughts on this Facebook Live comment brought to you by Melvin Law. Darby says, why do our boosters drag their feet so long? We did it with the facilities in the late 90s, only improving them after other universities did so. Now we are doing that with the NIL.
Well,
Flash, in this day and age, kids are not lining up to come to Florida because of the rich traditions we once had.
Okay,
Again, when people say the rich traditions, in my opinion, Florida football has only been relevant about 20, maybe 22 tops, 22 years out of 120 something. But it's not the boosters. The boosters have been donating the money.
Yes,
to do the facilities.
And when the facilities were not being done, that came from an administrative decision. There was $60 million I know this. There was at least $60 million sitting there at the damn bank, in the bank, with no improvements planned in the late 2000 decade. From 06 to 010 or whatever, there was a lot of money sitting in the bank and very little planning going on to improve the facilities. And that came from the top down. So I think that's a little misdirected in terms of criticism as far as the boosters go. They write the checks and they spend the money. I just don't know if these folks who are running things, Florida's a very conservative fiscal school. They did not want to spend a lot of money. They've never wanted to spend a lot of money until they had to spend a lot of money. And I think the old regime that ran things here was reticent to spend the money. It had the money. It was in the bank, but it wasn't being spent. That's a fact. That is true. And look. I will talk to Chip Howard all day long about this if he'd have me, because we play golf over here. But it's so far in the past, QB. It just doesn't matter anymore, right? What matters today is how the Florida Gators adapt and how the university adapts to the new landscape and what is required to get players into this school to play for them.
Yep, for sure. All right, JC, have a safe trip.
Yep.
And
Monday, no show Monday, right?
No show Monday. No show Monday. We'll probably have you on Tuesday to recap all your great winnings.
Oh,
or maybe not. Are you traveling Tuesday?
Yeah, no, it's 5 a.m. though out there. It's going to be tough for me. I'll text you.
I forgot you're going out there. Okay.
We'll stay in touch. JC. We'll figure it out.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. We'll take a quick time out. Come back. We'll be joined by former Gator Dan Cross. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Duffield Home Improvements for your window, siding, and roofing needs. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
All right, Coach. Last year, the best party in Gator Nation was at Spurrier's Visor's Rooftop. But now, we're in 23, we're celebrating this year what the restaurant has planned for this year, New Year's Eve. That's right. We got usual great food here at Spurrier's. We got wonderful music, and it's the best way to ring in 2024. It's going to be at Visor's Rooftop Bar from 7 through midnight to about 1 a.m. We got elevated hors d'oeuvres. We got sparkling wine pairings. We're going to dance to the DJ Elio here all through the night. Got to be 21 and older, but the tickets are going fast. And so, how much are the tickets for? The Visor party tickets are $125 a piece, and trust me, you'll get your money's worth. Now, Coach, where can we purchase the ticket? You can purchase the tickets at www.spurriers.com.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Silverback Concrete's a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structure with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it, we stand by it. We're going to go back to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements, and we're joined by Gator great Dan Cross. Good morning, Dan. How you doing, bud?
Good morning, my friend. Doing well yourself, Shane.
Yeah, I hope you had a good Christmas and happy holidays to you. Let's start off first, before we get into what you got going on in Gainesville this weekend. Let everybody in the Gator Nation know what Dan Cross is up to these days.
Yeah, I'm definitely staying busy, Shane. First with a proud father of a son and daughter who have graduated from the University of Florida. My son, Daniel, who was on the football team there and most recently finished his eligibility, studying his master's program in sports management. My daughter, who just graduated in the spring and now in law school down at FIU. I'm also the proud founder of an online learning curriculum called Cross Academy LMS, software system that provides online learning and after-school programs to youth, just teaching life skills, financial literacy, career assessments, etc. And then I also run a foundation called Athlete Connections Foundation, where we offer scholarships to graduating youth, graduating seniors, amongst summer camps that are under that umbrella, holiday showcases that's under that umbrella. A big celebrity golf fundraiser that we do in Orlando, man. So just staying busy doing things that I'm passionate about and, growing business.
Yeah, you do stay busy, no question about it. Well, this weekend here in Gainesville at St. Francis Catholic Academy, you're hosting what you've done, seems like the last 3 or 4 years, maybe longer than that, the Florida Get Down Showcase, where you got basketball teams coming to play a 2-day tournament. You got some teams from the area, but you also got people from all over the place coming. Tell us a little bit about that.
Correct. So very excited, man. We're in our 6th year hosting the Florida Get Down New Year Showcase here in Gainesville, where we always want to make sure that it's just great exposure for our local teams. So we'll usually have, 4 or 5 local teams that will allow them to be exposed to teams that they wouldn't normally play against, just for maximum exposure. So we have teams as far as, Miami coming up, as far as Atlanta, Georgia coming down. So Georgia teams represent this showcase, South Florida teams, Tampa teams, Orlando teams. So we've just tried to provide a mixture of talent and showcase to expose, these athletes to higher education, for scholarship opportunities. College coaches are allowed to come out and recruit and watch these kids. So that's the purpose and meaning behind this, is just to really expose our kids that may not be receiving a lot of exposure to a level to play at a higher level to play at.
And I think you told me that a Florida Gator commit will be playing in this tournament, right?
Correct. Isaiah Brown, for the Gator fans that are out there, is one of the latest Florida commits out of Orlando, at Orlando Christian Prep, OCP. So they will be participating in one of the primetime games tonight and tomorrow. So really excited to have him in town. So definitely want to show some Gator love to him. So the fans, asking fans to come out just to support a future Gator.
And then you mentioned you have these showcases around the country. Tell everybody else where those are located.
Correct. We also have we also host a showcase, Florida Get Down Thanksgiving Showcase in Orlando, Florida. So we've been doing that now. This is our 4th year, and then most recently added another showcase, a holiday showcase in Carbondale, Illinois, where I went to high school, where we showcase a lot of teams from the state of Illinois, state of Missouri, state of Arkansas, Tennessee. So it's, we just continue to grow, and it keeps me around the game, Shane. It keeps me relevant. And I think most importantly, it allows me to give back to the game as the game gave to me. So this was my way out of Illinois, my way out of family situations, neighborhood situations. It allowed me to get a scholarship to the University of Florida. So just kind of following and growing that blueprint to allow other kids to be exposed on a national level.
Speaking of Carbondale, Andy has a question here for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law. He wants to know, how did your school recruiting process go to get you from Carbondale to be a Gator in Gainesville?
It's at this point, and it's a great question, man. It was all about relationships. I had been recruited at a very high level. I was not supposed to get out of the Big Ten, between University of Illinois and a lot of other schools that were recruiting me in the Midwest. And once I took my recruiting trip to Florida, and it was in December, and then if anybody knows that's from the Midwest, what it feels like in December. I know, Shane, you played in Chicago. That is not a fun time to be in the Midwest with snow, 20 degrees below zero. And I came to a city called Gainesville, and it was 75 degrees, and I could not understand. I just took a trip, from Illinois where it was snowing. So that was a deal breaker for me, which allowed me to, look at life a little bit differently, be exposed to an outside world that I had not been exposed to, and then play in a very great conference in the SEC. So a lot of that went into my reasons for choosing Florida over many other schools.
We got a question here from Johnny on the Titan Amar text line for you, Dan. He wants to know your thoughts on NIL.
I think it's a great, another great question. I think it's a great way for student athletes to be compensated. Shane, I know that you and I wish that there were NIL deals back when we were playing, and pretty sure that we would be compensated very well. But I think it's a great way with the amount of revenue that the schools bring in, that the players make off of their name, image, and likeness. It's a little bit of the wild, wild west right now with how players are being compensated, and is that worth? Are their games, matching and adding up to their play? But I think it's a great start to to a business model that will work and hopefully bring competition to the college game.
Another question here on the Titan Tomorrow text line from Robert. He wants to know your thoughts on Todd Golden.
I think Todd, I've gotten to know Todd, pretty well, Coach Golden, pretty well over the past couple of years since he's been to Florida. I think he's done a tremendous job in a very short amount of time to at least to offer direction for where the basketball program is going, which, for the most part, as Gator fans, we're wanting to see the development and the direction just to be able to compete at the highest level. What type of talent, he's brought in a very short amount of time, the level of competition that he's being able to compete with early on in his career. So I'm very pleased and happy with what he's done so far, and taking a broken basketball team and program and making us relevant to the basketball world, which at this point in the life of a Gator fan and the Gator Nation, we're here always to compete at the highest level and to win in SECs and championships at the highest level. So I think he's on track to provide and help the program get back to a national standard.
Last thing for you, Dan. They talk about in postseason play how important his guard play is in college basketball, especially in the tournament. And with y'all's run to the Final Four, it was you and Craig Brown. The Gators have some experience there now with Clayton and the pulling guy, transfers that have played a lot of basketball. Will that help the Gators as the season progresses?
It should. Shane, you and I both know that the backcourt is like, having the quarterback on the football field. It's very important that that those two particular positions, that it demonstrates leadership, experience. For the most time, especially in the SEC and in the tournament play, the game is going to come down to the last, few possessions, the last 5 minutes of the ball game, which means that the ball is going to be in the hands of the point guard or one of the guards, which means, shooting late free throws, getting the ball to the right, teammates and putting them in the right position, calling the right play. Those instinctive opportunities, I believe this backcourt, with the experience that they have and the talent that they have, may give Florida a chance to go a little bit further than what the Riders may be saying right now.
Dan has a question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon Law. I want your thoughts on how facilities help bring athletes to a program. Obviously, I think you guys just practiced in when you were here, the little side court in the O'Connell Center. And then after Billy won the championships, they built the basketball facility. So, nowadays you have to have that kind of stuff. But how does Florida's practice facility compare to some of the other schools in America?
I think it's we could, at this point, it compares, it competes. Because I'm from Illinois, my brother works at University of Illinois as a professor, and he played there, and I had a chance to see their facilities, and I'm just kind of throwing this out here to the Gator Nation. We have a really good practice facility. Those things are needed in order to compete, at the highest level. So, I would give us a B, a B plus when it comes to the men's practice facility. I think Todd will, in the next few years, be able to enhance, just some of the aesthetics that kind of go along with the video screens and things that, players see when they walk through the doors of the practice facilities now, much like our practice facilities will be enhanced. But I think we're able to compete, with our facilities with most of everyone in the country, when it comes to our basketball program.
Yeah. All right, my man. Appreciate you joining the program. Let everybody know again if they're in the Gainesville area and they want to go watch some really good high school basketball the next 2 days. Can they buy tickets at the gate, or not the gate, but I guess at the box office there at the gym? Just let them know all that stuff, and if they maybe can help out one of your other deals that your athlete connections or something like that, if they can help those out as well.
For sure. So for this weekend, we're hosting this event, this showcase at St. Francis Catholic Academy here in Gainesville, Florida. Games today will start at 1:30. And again, some very exciting matchups, some Division I talent that will be displayed to the Gainesville community. Tickets can be purchased at the door, or as Shane said, at the ticket in the ticket box office, and or online at FloridaGetDown.org. Again, FloridaGetDown.org if tickets want to be purchased online, or they can come to the door. So, that's today and tomorrow. Games start today at 1:30. Tomorrow they start at 12:30. Matchups, again, will be very competitive. Our local teams, Eastside High School, Fort White, some local teams here will be able to display their talents. So greatly appreciate the support from the community. If sponsors want to get involved, it's not too late with that as well. So greatly appreciate the support coming from the Gainesville community.
Dan Cross, we appreciate it, my man. We'll talk to you soon. Happy holidays. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Duffield Home Improvements for your window, siding, and roofing needs. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
All right, Coach. Last year, the best party in Gator Nation was at Spurrier's Visor's Rooftop. But now, we're in 23, we're celebrating this year what the restaurant has planned for this year, New Year's Eve. That's right. We got usual great food here at Spurrier's. We got wonderful music, and it's the best way to ring in 2024. It's going to be at Visor's Rooftop Bar from 7 through midnight to about 1 a.m. We got elevated hors d'oeuvres. We got sparkling wine pairings. We're going to dance to the DJ Elio here all through the night. Got to be 21 and older, but the tickets are going fast. And so how much are the tickets for? The Visor party tickets are $125 a piece, and trust me, you'll get your money's worth. Now, Coach, where can we purchase the ticket? You can purchase the tickets at www.spurriers.com.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. 1966 HBC beers available at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Gator Games, and the O-Dome, and select retail outlets. Crisp American Lager, that's 1966 HBC beer. We have a comment on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing from Johnny. He says, I understand that we are going to miss out on some recruits, but each year we are losing out on top kids from the state of Florida. It's a problem that has to get fixed. I mean, we're not the only ones. I think Florida State's missing out. Miami's missing out. The kids are going to Ohio State and Georgia and Alabama. My personal opinion, again, whether I'm right or wrong, is that these kids want money, and the three state of Florida schools have not been winning lately. I know Florida State had a good year, but they're going to leave. Times have changed. Evo guy says, everyone complaining about recruits, feel free to donate millions of your own money to improve our recruiting class. That's true. This day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. In 2020, the Milwaukee Bucks break the NBA record for the most three-pointers made by a team in a single game. It was against the Miami Heat. They made 29 three-pointers. And I don't know if that's been broken since, but that's a lot. So that's This Day in Sports, brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Andy wants to know, do I keep in contact with Sean Kelly during the bowl season? You should have called the Pop Talks Bowl. Well, that's an ESPN deal. So I'm not an ESPN employee. He is, and even his color guy does them all year long for ESPN. I work when I'm not working for the Gator Radio Network. I've done a bunch of games for Gino Toretta's company called Touchdown Radio. But yeah, I think Sean called a NBA basketball game for ESPN Radio on Christmas Day in New York. And then I think he did 2 bowl games. I can't remember. But yeah, we do keep in touch. Barone says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Penn State right now is like Mark Richt's Georgia teams. 10+ wins, but can't beat the elite programs. Yeah, they've struggled against the big boys. Lee says, QB tell Corn Dog that Kinderloo Forest Country Club in Valdosta is in great shape and held many Corn Ferry events. Yes, it's an outstanding golf course. Outstanding. JC will not play it from 7,800 yards. He would want to be playing it from like 6,200 yards. He likes short golf courses. Evo Guy also says Strickland needs to convince Malachowski to invest in the football. I don't know who Malachowski is. Y'all got to fill me in on that one. Cliff says on Facebook, it's like Field of Dreams. If you win, they will come. Yeah, we got to win. Like I said a couple of weeks ago on the program, if NIL and transfer portal had hit while Steve Spurrier or Urban Meyer were the coaches at Florida, we'd have the pick of the litter. People would be flocking to come here. But when you've been down for so many years, those kids have never seen the Gators be dominant. I think that's what people miss. Dan Mullen won 10 games or 11, I think 10 games for 2 years in a row. But Florida's only had that short time period where they were dominant. Ted says, Shane, will you have anyone from the collective on to explain? We've had a couple people come on. I'll get somebody else. It's very simple. You donate your money to the collective, and then they have a chart that says what they're willing to pay or what each player at the positions make. I think we exceeded a little bit this year on a couple of players, though. Dan wants to know, when is JC taking you on one of his trips? I refuse to go on any of his trips, Dan. I would much rather sit at home or somebody else's house and watch a game than go to a game. I just don't like the hassle. The crowds, I just don't like any of that stuff. So anyway, hope you guys have a great weekend. Happy New Year to everyone. We'll be back live on Tuesday, January the 2nd. Be safe out there, folks, and take care.